Mike Cannon, Winnebago Police Chief Jeff White, Mayor of Machesney Park, Mayor Steve Johnson, Grand Police Chief Jeff Shelling, Pecatonica Police Chief Police Bob Smith, County Board member, and he's also a member of the Public Safety Committee, and he was an ex-Sergeant Sheriff's Deputy on our department, Aaron Booker. Again, I appreciate everybody's coming. I can tell that this is very, very, very concerning for us. This House Bill of 163, or apparently they changed it for some unknown reason to a 3653. But we're very, very concerned on the fact that how this has been approached. It wasn't drilled down 100% with law enforcement. I found this out probably 3 or 4 days ago. Not knowing the whole details, when I found this out, we immediately took the action to express our concerns with the legislators. We want to work with them as a common sense approach. Every single one of us wants to do the right thing. We want to have good police reform, and we want to have continues to have good approaches and good education on how to train and coach, counsel, and hold accountable law enforcement every single day. That's one of the reasons that we, as Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, went to body cams, because it preserves the truth and what's right. But the main concern that we're really concerned about is how this was introduced in a lame duck session. It appears that the author of these bills wanted to get this through very quickly and not sit down with us. They said that they wanted to sit down with us. I had a conference call with some of the authors of the bill. Again, I never heard about it until the very last minute. It appears that the authors of this bill feel like this is an attack on law enforcement and a aha moment for law enforcement, that kind of like we're going to get you a gotcha moment. But this is not an attack on law enforcement. We will deal with it because we're professionals. This is an attack on the community. This is an attack on victims of crime. And I want to stress this. This is an attack on victims of crime and attack on the community, not law enforcement. Because what this does, it handcuffs us, it bounds our hands and be able to go out and do our jobs. We will not be able to do that. So I'm very, very, very concerned on this and that we drill down on this. We have a couple speakers and I'll come back up to conclude and take questions as needed. The first speaker will be Chief of Police Chuck Lynn from Lowe's Park.
Thank you for being here today. I just want to touch on a couple points that this bill will have effect on law enforcement. One of the effects, this bill will force multiple unfunded mandates on police departments with additional threats in funding cuts if all the mandates are not met. There's a lot of police departments across the state that will not be able to meet the requirements that the bill puts in place. It could also make it very difficult, if not impossible, to hold suspects in custody before trial, even when they pose a credible danger to our communities. The bill impedes law enforcement's investigations and could significantly reduce the number of crimes that are solved. And finally, the last point that I would like to touch on is that the bill makes it much more difficult to ensure the safety of others in our community and prohibits the use of force in almost all situations, even those that are life-threatening to the community. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm Mayor with the City of Lowe's Park. I obviously am 100% behind the police department in our city and basically around this entire region. I feel like Sheriff Caruana, this bill was sort of a surprise attack to us. We were not aware of this. And things like eliminating the cash bail, it's a huge impact by not being able to detain these criminals. So it actually causes issues and is a danger to our citizens. And right now they're saying you could commit murder, aggravated discharge of firearm, robbery, or criminal sexual assault, and you would be released immediately if you don't pose a threat to that particular person.
it's foolish. It's just flat out foolish. And right now, our violent crime issues in this community is huge, and it's just going to continue to go up. And basically, what that does is by doing that, families that might have wanted to move here, businesses that might have wanted to move here and relocate here, they're not going to come. And it's just pretty common sense. And I'm hoping our representatives see that and stand up and make the choice. Like Sheriff said, this is not attack on the police officers department. It's attack on the community. And every citizen should know that. And again, they should be reaching out to our reps and telling them that this should not go. And hopefully they think about it and make the right choice. Right now, there's also all these unfunded mandates that are coming in. These communities aren't going to be able to afford them. The only people that are going to pay for that are the taxpayers. So, I mean, I'm trying to be as politically correct as I can with this, but it's a terrible bill, and they need to take it away and get with these people and restructure it and let their input be involved. So, thank you for being here. Hopefully, we get this across because tomorrow is the day. So, at this time, I introduce Oakland County Sheriff Brian Van Fiscal, who's also the Oakland County Sheriff.
Good morning. As I testified this weekend down in the Capitol, the Sheriff's Association is part of a law enforcement coalition group. This group has been together for several months. The group includes Illinois Chiefs of Police and Illinois Labor. And we've developed a plan, a 15-point plan for police modernization. We all know that no one's perfect, no industry's perfect, and no person's perfect. And so we've taken on that challenge to modernize law enforcement. We've always been able to sit down with the legislators and come to an agreement, come to a solution. We've always been willing to do that. And unfortunately, the time to do that during a lame duck session just can't happen in an effective manner, a manner that allows us to keep our community safe. And so our concern as a coalition, as a Sheriff's Association, is the communities. This bill does not keep our community safe. It doesn't allow law enforcement to be safe, and it doesn't allow us to prosper in an efficient way. So again, our plea to the legislature is to not do this during lame duck, to have those conversations, to sit down with the professionals, to come to an understanding of why we do business and how we do business, and let us explain to them the concerns that we have. Unfortunately, like I said, lame duck is not the time or place to do that, and we respectfully have requested that the sponsors of this bill move it into the 102nd Assembly. And now I will have the chairman come up.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for being here. Appreciate the invitation to speak here today quickly. As everyone that's spoken already, you can hear the plea from their hearts and conscience that what is occurring right now in our state of Illinois with the speeding of this legislation is very troubling. We have so many stakeholders in this county that want to be part of the decision and part of good policy. We cannot continue to have groups separated and not their voices not being heard. And I implore with every citizen of this county, contact their legislature to let them know to hit the pause button. Let us all come to the table and work together for good policy that protects our public, protects all the victims that could be impacted by this legislation. And we need good parts of that bill. We need good training for our police agencies. We need good victim advocacy for our community. But the route and the way this is occurring today, it's very troubling to me. As a chairman, I just recently learned from a couple different departments in Winnebago County that the impact from the unfunded state mandate will cause our general fund to be devastated with over $1.6 million of new revenue that's needed to support this bill. We need to slow this down. The state and the federal government cannot continue to mandate these bills upon us without a revenue source. They will devastate the ability for us to produce good service for our community, good policing, good judicial system. please, I implore everybody, contact your legislators and hit the pause button. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Aaron Booker. I'm on the Winnebago County Board. I'm also a member of the Public Safety Committee of the Winnebago County Board. I would like to echo Chairman Shirelli's comments and just reiterate that this will be a financial drain on our county, our already strapped county. Our Sheriff's Department, our State's Attorney, our public defenders, and our judges are financially strapped right now as it is. We cannot afford any of these unfunded mandates. I also would like to touch on personnel issues. We have an obligation to our county employees, which is our county deputies and corrections officers, the discipline of officers on an anonymous complaint, unsubstantiated complaint, and kept in a file. Let me reiterate that, speak of that again. That is an anonymous and unsubstantiated complaint on an officer requires discipline and requires that to be kept in a file. If anyone would just like to reflect on how that would affect you in your job on an anonymous and unsubstantiated complaint, how that would affect you. Officers personally liable in civil lawsuits. Requiring body cameras. Now that's a good thing. I would like to say body cameras are a good thing, but it requires our smaller departments, our agencies such as Winnebago, Pecatonica, Duran, Roscoe, requires them to make a purchase of body cameras. They don't have that type of budget that we do at Winnebago County in the city of Rockford. And if they fail to get those body cameras, then they'll be financially punished for not acquiring those body cameras. So it puts a real burden on our agencies, and I apologize if I'm missing the other smaller agencies from our surrounding counties, such as Joe Davies, Stevenson, and Boone, and Ogle. But there, you know what I'm talking about there. So every government body's number one priority is public safety, and there's so many items in this bill that removes that element of public safety that we need to serve our public. Thank you.